Danny, do you see a world where Colorado wins the Big 12?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably where, and I heard you guys talking about on the reaction pod, that, is the winner 9-3. Does that get you into the championship game? I wouldn't bet it because I've said this about Colorado for 2 years now. I never have a really good feel for where they're going to be, including before the game. I see Rick Ross in the locker room before the game, and I see him in there like having a concert, and they got the speakers blaring. Everybody looks casual. I'm like, is this team ready to go? Yeah, they looked ready to go. I mean, they just do things differently. And that was something they hung their hat on. But at the same time, I could see them absolutely just coming out and laying an egg down the road too. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I mean, clearly that was a huge win for them. They looked more physical than we've seen them all year. I think 8-4 is probably though the highest I'd be willing to say, all right, I think I could envision that. And I don't think that gets them to the Big 12 championship game.
I don't think so either.
No. So I guess I would say no. But 8-4 is one heck of a turnaround. It's a pretty impressive story. That's the story that we got out ahead of ourselves last year. Like, that would be worthy of note if they do it this year.
I know that could get Deion Sanders an NFL job.
That's right.
But you tweeted it this morning. It's like the difference between team 3 and 15 in the league is what, 2 field goals?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I looked at my numbers. It's like, okay. And then I looked at ESPN's FPI, and they have it like 5 points difference between team 3 and team 15.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's conference to watch.
I am so I'm ready to see Iowa State really start to get tested. Iowa State, number 10 in the CBS Sports 134 as it was updated.
Nice.
Iowa State is taking care of business. We discussed specifically the Houston game, but I'm ready for them to start playing the best teams in the conference because we will either have...
You could be waiting a while, though.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're just going to sit here, and as long as Iowa State doesn't screw up, and right now they seem like one of their greatest strengths is that in a conference full of teams that are screwing up, Iowa State is not screwing up. Matt Campbell, now like the program's winningest coach, is just out here like, all right, guys, don't screw up. If we just go out there and be us and we do it without screwing up, then the don't screw it up Cyclones are going to end up in the Big 12 title game with a shot to play their way into the college football playoff. I'm sort of fascinated with that aspect of this because I think they've been flying off the radar. And as they continue to handle their business, they probably will remain off the radar. Yet there are places like they're ranked in the top 20 of the AP poll. They're number 10 in CBS Sports 134. That 0 in the loss column is going to continue to get them rising up. We'll see if the quality is able to match the way this thing has started.
They are by far the most likely team, at least in my numbers, to reach the Big 12 title game. I don't think they're the most likely to win it, but when I was doing my updated Big 12 projections, I actually ended up having Iowa State rather as the team to come out of the Big 12 just because they're so likely to make it.
Who else was it there?
Do you have factored in there Cam? Like, what is the Cam Rising factor right now?
He's dead.
I mean, look, if Rising plays, they're the best team in the Big 12,
right?
And I think by a meaningful amount in my own numbers.
Same.
I don't
without
think it's
them,
really that close between them.
But without them, they're awful. Like, they're like such a massive drop off. I'd say awful, but they're like a middle of the pack team. And in all these one possession games, when there's not that much difference, that type of player makes a huge difference.
He's like a full touchdown. I mean, like they go from like a 17 to like a 10 ish.
I'm so
right. I mean, you think about what did that game close on Saturday night? Arizona catching 8.
Yeah.
It's like we'll give Utah a full home field of 3. So that like 5 on a neutral without Rising. We think Arizona's probably like a 5. So that makes Utah without Rising like a 10. Just kind of back the napkin, clean math on it. Like a 10 is what, top 3rd in the Big 12, but not like great. And that's assuming that game closed efficiently, which the result on the field says perhaps not.
So you've got, when you said 3 through 15, you're saying Iowa State, Kansas State is the class of the conference. Utah.
No, I was saying Utah with Rising.
Okay. And then so you don't have Kansas State. Kansas State at the top of the pile, basically.
I have Utah with Rising, then Kansas State, then Iowa State.
And then who knows? Shruggy shoulders. Because we've downgraded Oklahoma State as fast as a system would let you, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I also thought too, upon further review, what Avery Johnson did, the bounce back game, like always, that is the one thing I want to see out of everybody. You have the awful game on the road, 2 picks, probably cost your team a win. How do you respond after that? I thought he stepped up. And of course, it helped having DJ Givens step up and have a huge supporting effort for him as well. But I thought Avery Johnson played like the way you want to see a quarterback play, unflappable, like it doesn't phase him. It doesn't affect his confidence. They had a really good game plan for him too. But talking about teams in the Big 12, like after that loss, it's like, did they make a mistake? Kind of like Oklahoma was feeling after they had to bench Jackson Arnold. No, I think they got their answer.
Going backwards for a second here, I agree with you. I thought Avery Johnson looked good, but going backwards, let's assume for a minute Cam Rising is alive, which he's not. But if he is, can we be sure that he is that valuable, considering he has played 2 games in the last 2 years? Actually, only 1.5 games in the last 2 years, and that game was against Southern Utah and Baylor.
But buddy, that 1/2 against Baylor. Buddy, that 1/2 looked good.
But I'm just saying, like, I think Cam Rising does make Utah the best team if he's alive, which he's not. But I don't know, man. When you've been off that long, I don't know if we can just expect that guy to return from the dead and be the same guy he was before.
I mean, I thought he looked really good against Baylor. It is just a half. I mean, they were on pace to win that game by like 50. We know Utah's defense is really damn good. We have a pretty big sample set that Wilson is bad. Oklahoma State is the only time in which his numbers were decent, and he made some decent plays, but also some real sketch ones, and his receivers bailed him out like crazy. I mean, there's the one catch where the guy's like behind his head, and
right.
I mean,
his touchdowns were wide open, schemed up, like as all get out.
I'm confident that's a touchdown drop off, personally. And it's not all that I think Rising some NFL guy, but Wilson to me is not a playable quarterback if you're trying to win a conference.
Yeah, no, I understand that part of the equation for sure. It's like I'm still kind of skeptical on Utah, even with Rising at this point.
Well, and also like to get really reckless and unfair with it. I mean, I would hate if I was Money Parks, or if I was Micah Bernard, or if I was like somebody else on that, or Dorian Singer. Like if I'm somebody else on that offense, and if I am as in the dark as everybody else is, you're like looking at Cam like, all right, so what's the deal here? What are we doing? Like at some point, and again, being entirely reckless and unfair, the cloud of it all is going to prevent a team from coming together and being the best version of itself.
They're on a bye this week?
Yes.
Yeah. I would love being Money Parks, because then my name would be Money Parks.
That's
and I would have a record
absolute deal. Fair. Poked a hole right in that argument. You got it. But we'll continue to see how things go in Salt Lake City. A stunning late night development where the team was just not competitive at home and playing, and like when the students are clearing out before the end of the game, that's not the Utah that I know and love. So it was a great result for Brent Brennan and the Wildcats, but we'll continue to monitor that situation with the Utes.
They get a month to get healthy and play some teams that I think are decidedly bottom half of the conference. Arizona State, TCU, at Houston, BYU. Now BYU's ranked, but like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're just more like.
I mean, I ain't trusting nothing with the Holy War.
That's fair. But I don't think BYU can score on Utah.